Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you an OP Tempest Cleric build guide in Baldur's Gate 3 focusing on thunder damage and the Reverbation status. So Reverbation gives a -1 to Constitution, Dexterity, and Strength saving throws, and you can stack this up, and when they have 5 stacks they have to succeed a 10 Constitution DC in order to be able to stay up. If not, they get knocked prone. This is incredibly powerful because you can stack this up really close if you have Spirit Guardians active, and we can also pretty much be invulnerable to damage. So I'll be showing you how to go through this full build. We'll be starting as a cleric, and at level 1 I would say to have resistance, guidance, and sacred flame. Sacred flame is just consistent cantrip for damage here, and Tempest Cleric domain also gives us Thunder Wave, which is a nice boost to our thunder damage. We're getting a level 1 spell, and Fog Cloud, which is pretty good. But a big thing here is the Wrath of the Storm. So as a reaction, strike back at an attacking creature, dealing 2 to 16 thunder damage. So this is going to stack up thunder damage, which will apply our Reverbation. I'll be going through all the gear, and basically what happens with this build is if you get attacked once, you're going to set the opponent reeling with this armor. It applies a status, which is going to further apply Reverbation. It actually gets incredibly powerful. For your deity, choose what you want. Selune has the most for dialogue options. And as for our ability score, if this is the face of the party, use the hags here to take your wisdom up to 18. But we can also go with the 16 and then put some more points into our constitution. Strength is going to be a decent skill for us as well, because that's where we get our damage from. So you can put your strength up a bit, or we can go with dexterity based weapons, but I think that strength is probably the best choice here for our options. So we'll go with something like that. And then you can take your intelligence up to 10 there. So that's what we'll roll with for our ability scores. I would recommend going through, taking whatever stats you've prioritized. If you want more constitution, you can go that route. I'll be going over to the gear at the end, and I have 3 different ways we can gear this up, and it can be done as early as Act 1. So level 2, we get ourselves a Channel Divinity, which allows us to do maximum damage with our thunder spells, which is actually pretty powerful because we do get a strong spell that no one else gets in this game. At level 2, we get ourselves to the choice of prepared spells. We'll be taking Healing Word. If a teammate goes down, use this to pick them up with a bonus action. Create Water, which it has synergy if we want to use lightning spells, so I like to take that as well. Command's a good crowd control spell to have. Guiding Bolt can inflict a condition as well, gives attack rolls advantage, and then for another one, Sanctuary is pretty nice just to have. So that's our level 2. At level 3, we get ourselves the Shatter spell, damages all nearby creatures. Creatures made of inorganic material such as stone have disadvantage on their saving throw. Simple 3d8 thunder damage plus a Gust of Wind spell. And we also get to choose some pretty nice spells with Hold Person and our Spiritual Weapon. I'd recommend taking Spiritual Weapon because this is a great bonus action spell to have, and then also Hold Person is extremely powerful early on too. Even late game, Hold Person is one of the best spells, so highly recommend it. At level 4, we get ourselves a Feat, which is going to further increase our wisdom, and for our cantrip, I would recommend taking Produce Flame. This just gives us a light, as well as you can throw it for a bit of fire damage. Ability improvement to take wisdom up, but also Warcaster is pretty nice for advantage on saving throws, for concentration on spells. If you find that your Spirit Guardians is dropping, I guess we'll get that at next level, but this will help maintain that concentration. Alongside Shock and Grasp, which is nice lightning damage, and it stops the target from doing reactions. But I think Wisdom increase is kind of the way to go here. At our next level, we get ourselves the Destroy Undead, but we also get Call Lightning, which is a really nice spell. This is just consistent damage. It's lightning damage, which isn't quite thunder, but still nice to have alongside the Sleet Storm. As for our prepared spells, I would recommend going with Spirit Guardians, obviously. What Spirit Guardians is nice is it allows us to deal radiant damage, which is going to apply 2 stacks of Reverbation, and it applies a status because it halves movement speed, so that's 4 stacks of Reverbation. We just need 1 more stack, and we'll potentially knock the target prone. Glyph of Warding is also really nice for just thunder damage. And then I also like Mass Healing Word to give your team a heal, but also Animate Dead can be a pretty nice spell. But we'll go with that for the current level. This build is incredibly busted. At level 6, we get the Thunderbolt Strike. When you deal lightning or thunder damage to a creature that is large or small, you push it up to 3 meters. Nice pushback on that thunder damage that we're going to be pumping out. For our next leveled spell, I like Animate Dead to have extra zombies to take hits for your team, but that's also, if people don't like taking summons, that's totally fine. We can go back and put on Sanctuary again just for that protection, because there's a lot of spells that we want to be having equipped. At level 7 here, we also get freedom of movement, which is nice, but you can have someone at camp apply this to everyone. We also get Ice Storm and Spiritual Weapon, or Guardian of Faith here, which it has 60 health, it attacks for 20 damage, and it loses that 20 every time it attacks. You can put it inside a globe of invulnerability to make it invincible. Pretty nice. Death Ward is good too, but we can also get items later on that can apply that to the team. We get our Divine Strike Thunder. Once per turn, deal 1d8 thunder damage in addition to your weapon damage. This is really nice, just flat out thunder damage, which is further going to stack our Reverbation, so we like that. Revivify is nice for reviving a companion in combat, or outside of combat, or I guess in combat too, but Protection from Energy is nice to give resistance to a damage type. And even Banish isn't okay, but it does require concentration. I'm going to take Animate Dead because I think it brings a lot of utility. Taking our Wisdom up is good. Going with Alert for increased initiative is also really great. And going with Athlete's kind of interesting because there's actually, we could add in 2 levels of the Monk to get the ability to jump without taking a bonus action. And there's an item that we can jump with that'll apply thunder damage. I'll maybe make a build on that at a later date. For this build, I think taking Wisdom up to 20 is the way to go because more Wisdom means higher spell save DC. And it'll help us with our damage as well. For our level 5 spells, I think that Flame Strike's pretty good because it allows us to further stack our Reverbation with the radiant damage that it deals. Contagion's okay, but I wouldn't want to waste a level 5 spell slot on it. Mass Cure Wounds can be okay too if you need a heal to apply anything. Greater Restoration, meh. You get Long Rest in this game so easily. Aid is another good spell that I didn't talk about. But yeah, I think that for the next level, maybe you can take whatever you want there. It's not super crucial to have that extra one. That's because we got our Wisdom up. Gives us another spell slot preparation. Divine Intervention, call upon your god for aid. This is good against one fight in Act 3 that really does make a difference, so I highly recommend it for that. Planar Binding can be okay at times, gives you the ability to control another worldly being, but at our next level is where we get some pretty fun spells. I would recommend taking Planar Ally. This is one of the best level 6 spells flat out. Being able to summon in a Diva for free Revivify is extremely useful, and even the level 7 or level 6 heal is a pretty good spell to have. Flat out 70 healing is kind of crucial at certain points, but also you don't need to heal that much in this game. Harm can be an okay 14d6 necrotic damage, but a lot of things resist necrotic. I also really like Create Undead. Blade Barrier can be good crowd control. And Hero's Feast is nice, but you can have a teammate in camp apply this to everyone, so I'm going to take heal for that. And then for our final level, if you want to take another feat and get like Warcaster, you can. But I think it's actually best to add in another level of another class. So we do get our level 6 Cleric spells, but we can add something else in. Wizard is a nice one because we can add in some extra spells if we want like Globe of Invulnerability. That's a nice one just to have because it doesn't require us to have a high level in our Wizard spell casting. We could also start with 1 level of Sorcerer, which will give us the Constitution saving throw proficiency. And if we take the Storm Sorcerer, we do get the free fly as a bonus action. So starting 1 level of Sorcerer is pretty good just for that. And we also get Chromatic Orb is actually a really good spell to have. But the thing is, you can get this from either caster, and the Wizard just brings a bit more utility for us. So as for our spells, I would recommend taking Shocking Grasp and Ray of Frost, and as well, probably a Bone Shield brings some utility, but Minor Illusion is also really good to group enemies together, so I think we'll go with that. This can also stack Reverbation. As for our spells, I think that Shield is an essential one, and Chromatic Orb. Magic Missile is good for guaranteed damage. Normally don't take Witch Bolt, but it can have some usefulness here with stacking up our the rolls of Reverbation. And then Long Strider can be good on certain builds too, but I think Find Familiar works. We can only prepare 1 spell, Shield or Chromatic Orb. If we would have taken our Charisma down and put our Intelligence up, we could prepare 2. I would say Shield and Chromatic Orb. Chromatic Orb is just really good, but unfortunately this does use our Intelligence as a casting spell, so it's not going to be that effective. If you have the Intelligence Circlet, I'll go over what we could do with that, because we do have a helmet that we want to use, because all the gear is going to really go synergetically together. It's all really easy to get gear that you get early on. So we have the Hat of the Storm Scion's power, which whenever you deal thunder damage, you gain Arcane Acuity, which increases your spell save DC, meaning we're going to hit our thunder spells more frequently. This is really good. I'll be talking about a really effective spell that we got to, the Destructive Wave. I didn't even touch on that, but that really does stack up our Reverbation quickly. You don't need to use that one, though. We can go with the Circlet of Intelligence. I think I put it in a chest just a moment ago. So the rest of this gear is extremely powerful. When a creature with Reverbation deals damage to the wearer, the creature needs to make a Constitution saving throw or become dazed. When they become dazed, they basically end their turn, so that's really nice. Adamantine Splint Armor, all incoming damage reduced by 2. When a melee attack hits you, the attacker is sent reeling for 3 turns. This applies a condition, which is going to give ourselves Reverbation. So, the Boots of Stormy Clamor, when the wearer inflicts a condition upon a hostile creature, they also inflict 2 turns of Reverbation. Really powerful. So this and this go together. When we get attacked, we apply Reverbation for 3 turns. So that's really nice. Gloves of Belligerent Skies, when we deal thunder, lightning, or radiant damage, inflict 2 turns of Reverbation on the target. So all of our thunder spells, even our lightning spells like Call Lightning if you want to go that way, or Shocking Grasp, will deal it. And then on top of that, Destructive Wave is also going to be using our thunder and radiant damage. And even Flaming Strike if you want to go that route. So Destructive Wave is extremely nice power because it can possibly knock targets prone anyways with its spell casting, but it can also apply Reverbation. Ring of Spiteful Thunder, when the wearer inflicts thunder damage to a reverberating target, it becomes dazed unless it succeeds a Constitution saving throw. So this further increasing our statuses on the enemies that we fight. And the Coruscation Ring here, when the target deals spell damage with illuminated by a light source, they inflict radiating orbs upon the target for 2 turns. This can give us another condition if we do an attack. I would recommend, if you use that ring, to also use the Nyrolna, which is an interesting build to throw all this on, but this deals a additional 1d6 thunder damage on its attacks. When you throw it, it does a 3d6 of thunder damage, so it's going to deal extra thunder damage. You get increased movement speed, which is nice with Spirit Guardians. And it gives you immunity to fall damage. But it also gives us glowing, which whenever you hit an illuminated target. So with this, we can continue to stack up our Reverbation on the target. But I also think that there's 2 other options. The Corpse Grinder gives us thunder damage on our attacks, which is really nice. But this requires us to 2-hand it. And another choice would be there's a hammer. I'm trying to find it. There it is. The hammer half. So I talked about this. Whenever the wearer jumps, they deal 1d4 damage in a 3-meter radius. So you can actually take this, and if we took 2 levels of monk, you could jump up and down a bunch of times on the same spot and continually drop thunder damage. So that's really good. But I think it's actually best to go with America Heshgear. Now the reason for this, I'm also equipped a shield. We get a good armor class. We could even, if you wanted to, go with a higher armor there, like something a little bit stronger. But I would recommend going with Adamantine Splint Armor because that'll send the target reeling, which applies a status for us. With this, we can use Kareska's Favor. This is probably the only time you'd ever want to use the Thunder one. So we deal additional thunder damage equal to our proficiency bonus. So if +5 to all of our thunder damage, we become resistant to it. And another little bonus of this is whenever we cast with a spell, it inflicts 1 turn of Reverbation on the target. So we're going to continue to further inflict Reverbation. So pretty much dealing damage, getting hit. Anything we do, we're dealing Reverbation, and we're gaining Arcane Acuity, so we're going to be landing our spells, and the target won't be landing them against us. Spirit Guardians is huge because the Radiant damage that we get, make sure you do select the Radiant damage version, is going to double and give 4 stacks of Reverbation, because it gives a condition by slowing down the target, and it also gives Radiant damage. And even if you just want to attack with something like Sacred Flame, that's a simple, easy way to stack up Reverbation. So there's a lot we can do with this build. It's extremely powerful in Baldur's Gate 3, and stacking this many conditions has never been easier. Destructive Wave. Oh, I don't want to talk to Mizora. I want to drop a Destructive Wave. So you can do a Necrotic or Radiant version. I always recommend the Radiant version. And it does a ton of damage. So yeah, I highly recommend using Destructive Wrath here. It's a lot of fun. You can also get your Divine Strike Thunder on your weapon, which is really nice. I like that attack because this is if you want to get up close, you can deal an additional thunder damage. Always a nice thing, but the Destructive Wave is super useful. I highly recommend this spell because it just does a ton of damage when there's targets near you. And if not, you can always do a Thunder Wave to just do the same. We also got the Destructive Wave to make it deal the maximum amount of damage, so yeah, if you get in close, 60 damage, it's very powerful. So there's a Thunder Cleric Tempest build guide from Baldur's Gate 3. This was a request, so thank you so much. If you have any requests, please leave a comment below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.